Alright, let me pull up. Awesome. Okay. Alright, super. I am finally remembering how to do this after 5 trillion years. It really feels like that. Okay. Cool. For right now, I'm just gonna get going on this. It is nothing super thrilling right now. I have to go bit by bit and try to figure out who said what their ages are for now, and then we go from there. So, hello everybody. Welcome. I don't know that this is... Oh, cool. Alright. I got the lag on, so I was trying to wait. I can see my documents, though. Excellent. So, looks like when I left off here, I was just finishing sorting out the 18 to 20-year-old category in terms of their groups. I decided to go by group and then character, because character data is a little bit more intense, just due to the way that I had to format it. Because for those of you who took the survey, you remember that it was laid out in terms of, oh my god, how did that work? It was, you could choose up to 5 characters. So the character data is going to be a little bit more tedious to pick through, whereas with groups, I did your top 3 favorites and then 1 least favorite. Also, I'm talking a lot. I just realized, can people hear me? Is the audio good? I just restarted Streamlabs, and I have not been doing this for a long time. It says my audio is good, so we should be all set on that front. Excellent. So... let me get this. I also apologize. For whatever reason, it's been like calm all day, and then suddenly it just started storming outside. So if everything suddenly goes dead, I'm gonna blame that. Alrighty. I should definitely do an occupation one as well, because I am kind of interested to see where everyone falls on that. I've got to figure out location too. Alright, excellent. Thank you so much, Coastal. Alrighty. Also, if anybody works with, like, I don't know, sheets and is way better at it than I am, please let me know, because I use sheets a very limited amount, and so if there are, like, formulas that would make my life easier, please let me know. I am just going by this in terms of like how many each of one of these group names occurs, and I'm just kind of counting them. I mean, I guess I got the little number down here, which is useful. But with like ships and stuff like that, it is going to be a lot more. I'm going to have to go by like frequency of terms and stuff, and of course, you know, you have people who have entered different variations of ship names and stuff, so people who also write maybe like, you know, just a thought off the top of my head, you might have like Iori Zen, like Iori X Zen, or like Iori and Zen versus like Zen and Iori, or like Io Zen versus maybe like Zen Io or something, where those are the same 2 characters, but they might have different natures of like the relationship between them. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to ultimately quantify it. I'll probably just like kind of put them together. Maybe I could like word cloud it, you know, like enter all of the answers into like one of those word cloud generators, just for people to kind of get a sense of which character ships showed up the most frequently. I do feel like it's important because I'm, again, incredibly... Akan Yatsura is the most popular group by, like, a very large margin. It wasn't even, like, close. I want to say last I looked, it was just... It was between, like, a 4th and a 5th of the entire, like, surveyed populace that had included Akan Yatsura, like, as, I think, just their top favorite, but, like, more than 50%, so more than half of the people surveyed had Akan Yatsura in their top 3. And I want to say that Akan Yatsura was also the least chosen as, like, your least favorite. So, yeah, no, it's, like, pretty exciting. I don't know, it's a lot of fun. I'm just really fascinated because, obviously, I just think it's cool to see how people kind of engage with the fandom, or with, like, the series as a whole. And again, I talked about this a little bit on my Twitter, but I'm still kicking myself. I should have asked people like when they got into the series or how long they've been following it, because it is really interesting as well. Like, I had some people saying things like, "Oh, I don't really know a lot about this group," or "Oh, I just hadn't really read a lot of their stuff," and which makes me wonder if it's like kind of people who are maybe brand new and still learning, or if it's people who are just like, I kind of just haven't because I don't really care about it or whatever. I am kind of fascinated in that respect. Rebel, I definitely like. I mean, look, I'm like super biased, so I can't even be like objectively yes, like But in my opinion, I'm like, yeah, Akan Yatsura. I think they have like the most fun interactions with different groups. I think that they have really endearing characters. I think that they're just like very fun, and I mean, obviously, music shows up a lot in terms of like why they're favorite groups. Though it is wild to me because there were people who said Akan Yatsura music was their least favorite. Which obviously, I mean, yeah, that's going to happen because it's a survey and there are going to be people who have all kinds of different opinions, but it was wild to me. I was like, dang, that's crazy. But I also really think it's really cool how different people can listen to the same music and just have like two completely different like opinions on it. Um, and both be like totally valid. I think that's fine. Like, people are gonna just have things that like they jam with, or that they don't jam with, or jive with, and they don't jive with. And I think that's a cool thing about like listening to music or these kinds of projects, especially when all of the groups in Akan Yatsura, oh my god, all of the groups in Paradox Live are all kind of like fairly distinctive and have different genres. It is really fascinating how different people can listen to a song and come away with a completely different attitude or feeling for how that song was. Let's see. Anyway, I think the Cat's Whiskers actually did very well as well. Like, I was pleasantly surprised. Rise up, kitty heads. Let's see. Hello. Thank you. I am actually I am getting ready for school to start. Which is like, I don't know. I guess in like one fell swoop all of my motivation came back and I was like, I'll just do a bunch of things because the school year's about to start. And so I'm like getting into the mindset of working again. And then, I guess there are covers coming out, so I was kind of like energized. So I'm trying to kind of use that as like a springboard into doing things again. Um, but oh my god, I do also have an appointment finally to talk to somebody about getting like evaluated for ADHD. Like, technically, when I was younger, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is not even a thing we say anymore. As like a fun fact, I'm that old. But I do think that some of my behaviors, like now looking back as like a teacher who has also taken courses and classes specifically about like dealing with ADHD students and the common traits of ADHD, I'm like, oh, I'm like pretty sure that I'm actually, I was maybe, the ADHD obviously like category, there's a lot of overlap. But also since I'm trans, like as a young girl in the 90s doing certain behaviors, I was not hyperactive, and so I was just very like, I'm gonna do this because I want to do this and I don't want to do that, stuff like that. So I think that the way that I characterized or these behaviors was not a way that they were ready to acknowledge or recognize at that time. So that's all being said. Yeah, right. I mean, like, I think I do think that all of the groups in this series, Rebel, have like really genuinely, like, there is something there for every group. I don't really think there are any groups that are like, there's nothing here. It's just, Like, even groups that, for example, I feel like Inmate has a lot of kind of like potential that's been left on the table. Maybe shall we say? Um, I think they have like a good concept in there. I think that just sometimes they don't always get the most like opportunity to shine compared to some of these other groups. I think that like even like Amp Rule in the recent novel, the memory chapter that came out for them, I thought it was like very good. And again, I think like I do think people get very into this kind of black and white thinking in terms of like Chung Sung, right? Going, oh, he's a good character, he's a bad character. Um, Whereas, I mean, he's like a fictional character, so it doesn't really matter if he's good or bad, quote unquote. I think it's very fascinating his perspective and how he came to that point. And I appreciate that we understand his perspective now because it does make me a little bit more like, okay, there's a little bit more complexity at play here. Um, I don't necessarily think that like all the writing is stellar and it's been handled great. I think there are plenty of issues that his character has, and I don't necessarily like how certain things have been characterized. But at least it gives us a little bit of something to work off of. You know what I mean? So I think even characters that are like maybe don't have the strongest writing or maybe have flawed writings, quote unquote, I think that they have something worth kind of interesting, like looking into. Also, hello, Kreutzy. I'm pronouncing it very German. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to pronounce it like that or if it's more of like an Americanized form. But hello, welcome. And honestly, like I think that Paradox Live does produce like good music. There are a lot of really enjoyable songs. That I think that I'm probably biased, but I think you can enjoy them like separated from the content. But I also think that the lore is a lot of fun as well. I think, yeah, I think that it's just like awkward because of the way. Oh, awesome. um, but yeah, I do think like some of it has to do with how the ages are. It's like awkward, even like with Hajun or something. I think it just like Hajun is also just not a good match for a character like Chong Sung in the first place, right? So it was kind of like negative and negative influences influencing each other. And now at this point it does make it kind of where um Chung Sung is I'm typing in the wrong one. Chung Sung is now like negatively influencing Dongha. And I do think it's nice in the sense that like when people interact with other people, nobody is necessarily interacting going, I would like to do harm to people. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say nobody is. I live in America right now. Things are not great. But I do think, generally speaking, people interact with other people in ways that they intend to do good by them, or they intend to do moral or upright things from their own perspective. And I think that Chung Sung's a really good example where he, from his perspective, is trying to do a service to Dongha. He's trying to do what he understands he can do for him, but in doing that he is harming him, right? And that's that kind of complexity that I think is really fascinating. Dude, I feel so bad, Geo, for the Buraikon fans because the Buraikon, they have such good songs, but there really is such little content for them that I think that a lot of people were kind of who said Buraikon was kind of the group they felt more most neutral towards, or were kind of their least favorite. They were ultimately kind of like, there's just not a lot of information about them, and I totally get that. But also, they have genuinely some very good songs, and I think that the like yearning doomed yaoi aspect of it, the group, is very endearing. I don't know, it's nice, it's good. I really do also like Budaikon, but they're definitely going to be kind of overlooked, generally speaking. Especially because I feel like Haruomi's got to be like a boomer. He's busy. He's working two jobs basically. He doesn't remember to get online and tweet and stuff. I do think that yeah, no, the characters and like the writing I think is very good, and I really like I like that we have more recently as well had new kind of areas for the characters to interact with each other. Like I do think that the Paradox Live School AU is really nice because now we have groups that don't really interact with each other and they're interacting, and it kind of provides another like area for these kinds of concepts and interactions to happen. um because I get into this in the Road to Legend video that I've been working on, but like there just isn't a lot of there's not a lot of interconnection between some of these groups, and it's very frustrating. Because I think there's a lot of good interaction in some of the in the season one, if you will. Let me see, 13. Let me see. I'm gonna catch up with the chat here. Okay. TC Double for Life, for real. They are really good. Or I guess maybe like Tenkei-sensei. um, dude, Budokan is Back is so clean. It is such a good song. Oh my god. It really is just genuinely such a just a very well crafted song. And I feel like some of them are like I think one of the songs that I feel personally is hit or miss is like Let It Heat. I feel very neutral towards. I really liked Every Day Every Night that they did for the ending of the anime. And I like the ones where they kind of try to really zero in on that old school vibe. Oh, I forgot to enter the. I'll do that later. But yeah, I think that they just kind of don't get enough play in terms of like narrative, and so it's really hard. I'm really hoping that like they'll surprise us and give us a Budokan memory. That'd be great. But I do feel like it's probably just the song. Oh my god, I just forgot the name of the song. The one oh my god. It's the song where like Chise has the lighter and he's like smoking outside of Raimente. I think that like that feels like their memory, so to speak. Which again, beautiful song. I love that song so much. But yeah, it is definitely they're underappreciated. I also agree with you, Rebel, in the terms that I think that they do have a very like experimental sound. I guess they sound like it's kind of their genre stated, quote unquote, is just current new music, if you will, like popular music. And I think that kind of fits, especially with characters like Alan, who like Alan's special interest is like music and hip hop. So he's always going to be trying to kind of chase the concepts of hip hop or music, especially if he hears something that's kind of cool and kind of speaks to him, you know? So I think that that actually is a really cool concept there. I do mean back in the day. I felt like I was kind of remembering it, and then I was like, maybe I'm just gonna say something. I'm so sorry, but yes, back in the day is it is a very good song. Isabel, if we got solo songs for every character, I don't. I'd probably like scream. I don't know. I was just happy that Zen finally got to have like I don't know a little bit of the spotlight for the Akanyasura cover of Kokoro Odoru because he had that kind of like gravelly voice element that the original had. So I that was like honestly basically as good as a solo song would be for me. I 100%. I would love another Shuffle Team show. I feel like they kind of did they sort of did that with the seasonal like groups, but I feel like I would like to see there are like some specific groups I think would be fun to see interact. Like I think that maybe like an old Visti, like a K plus Visti would be kind of fun. I think you could do some like fun weird groups in there too. Like I don't know, like the 17 under crowd or something. You just have like the teenagers together. I think there are a lot of things. I think that a Kantaro and Rayo song would be fun. Um, you know. It would you know what honestly Isabel I think even a shuffle team with just the new groups would be good because I think like the old ones obviously got one, so it would be also just cool to get a new groups only one. I want another exhibition show where they have like real artists featured, which like I feel like they're instead of doing that they're doing the covers, which are also really good. I just think it'd be really fun to see like the real life crossovers again. I think that'd be fun. Oh, let's see. I'm on Visti, aren't I? Kantaro Reo, Ryu, and Rokuto would be that'd be wild. um, Oh my god. I do feel bad for Amperl fans because Amperl just got absolutely massacred in this survey. I want to say it was like a quarter of the people who responded had Amperl as their least favorite, and like 90% of the reason is Chung Sung, which again is definitely understandable. I think that, you know, it's not the most fun to listen to their dramas necessarily. Sometimes it's not necessarily the best handled. But I do feel bad because I know there are people who feel very passionately about Amperl, and I'm sure it's like very frustrating because a lot of people are gonna like look down at you or assume things about you, you know. Kenta Kanata Nayuta. That. Let's see here. Where's my conditional formatting? Yeah, because if you can look at this, like all of the highest numbers of least favorites, it's always Amperl. I'm sorry, Amperl, or Amperl fans, I guess. I I do actually like some of Amperl's song, and I think that there's a lot of wasted potential in the group because hip hop with classical music or like, you know, classical instrumentation is such a good combination. There's so many good examples of like, you know, this kind of orchestral element and hip hop. And I just feel like sometimes they kind of hit on it and sometimes it's just a total miss. You know, like I think that the I'm gonna forget a song name again. I can't do more than one thing at a time. But there's their like Revenger's victory song. I can't get over the fact that they're sampling Pomp and Circumstance, which is just the song that they play during, I know like in America that we play it during like graduation, high school graduation ceremonies. And so, as like an American, you're just like, "Oh God, why is it playing the graduation song?" And you can't even ignore it. It's such a big part of the song. I don't know if other countries also do that, or like there are other songs that you guys do. Do you guys have high school graduation ceremonies in the same way? I genuinely don't really know. Let me catch up real quick. Um, Oh yeah, the Frozen dude. The the Cosmos and Kenta thing is fun. I just think it's funny to have kind of groups or characters that like to crap talk being together. It is a very funny concept, and I just feel like they're neither of those characters are particularly patient with other characters. I you know like see, I feel like that's unsurprising. Like that I don't know what else you would play though. That you know, to me, that makes a perfect sense. That does feel very German. Uh, I'm trying to think of like another, you know, I don't know. Oh, what was that song? Uh, was it Lila? I feel like Germans. No, no offense, because I study German and I teach German as a language. I say this with all the love in my heart, but the Germans are like some of the tackiest people on the planet, and I love that for them. Yeah, it's like hold on, let me who is yeah, Geo, it's definitely like for us, it's really hard to overlook. I'm trying to like think of a good comparison, but I guess I don't really know a good comparison to uh them just playing a song that you associate with high school. But it really is funny, and I guess like maybe from a narrative perspective it's kind of like we're graduating and we're moving on, right? Because it's all about like facing the future that's in before you and whatever else, and like so it makes sense narratively, but like functionally it's awkward in my opinion. Oh, also, should I be saying your name then like Isabella? I have to get ready to go back to my students, but I feel like I've only been talking to myself in the car when I'm driving in German lately, so I'm like, I got to get my mouth to start moving in the right ways again. I do feel terrible though because I've been in America for so long now. The last time I was out of America was in like it was like it was a little less than a decade ago. I came back from Austria in like 2018, I think. No, 2017. In 2017-ish. Oh my gosh, there's so many Germans. Hello all Germans. I did try to schedule this so it was a little bit earlier in the day so that if Europeans wanted to jump in that they could. So there is that. But because I was going to say I feel like for Americans it's like a 50-50 if you're like free or not right now. It's kind of a toss up. Let's see. But we're at boot icon for here. 2 here. I am super, super unk. It's not even funny. Uh, I am steadily, rapidly approaching Yudo's age, I think, right now. Let's see here. But yeah, so I've been away from like the Deutschsprachige Raum for so long that I feel like I have just a very American accent now. So I feel very like Hallo, guten Tag. I don't know. It's rough. Let's see, Buraikon Visti. Well, I appreciate it. Australian? That's the one with the kangaroos and not the other one. Oh my gosh, Visti got the same as Budaikon. I think that actually one of the other trends I noticed is I think that Goku Luck is the most, like, split. That people either really like Goku Luck or they hate Goku Luck. And there's, like, not really a lot of in between on that one. Let's see, where am I? I'm at an inmate. I keep losing my train of thought because I am distracted. But I'm glad for the distractions. Inmate, there's 6 of them. 5. 5, I can count. And go through luck. 5. There we go. Oh my gosh. I feel like if I had wisdom teeth removed listening to like inmate, I think I would feel like I was having an out of body experience. And I think that one of the biggest in my opinion, all of this is in my opinion. Um, I feel like Goku Luck does have the most inconsistency, which is a shame because rock rap is a lot of fun. Like that kind of like new metal vibe is super good, and I just feel like sometimes they hit it, and sometimes it's like what am I listening to right now? And I wish it were more consistent for them. I think Cosmez is really I one of the other things that I like about Paradox Live is how the groups also kind of evolve their sound as they go. Because like, the way that Cosmos is kind of developed since like the first season, for example, where it's all very it felt all kind of a certain level of one-notedness because it's kind of like just Kanata by himself, and I think there's been a lot more depth and added complexity since then. Um so I think that it's kind of cool how that happens. But that being said, like I feel like I think I really like Trigger, which I feel like some people really either like Trigger or they were just angry about it. I liked Trigger. I liked Fight for Liberty. I like their first song, Stronger. And then I just feel like Catharsis, it's like depends on my mood for the day. I'm either like, yeah, this is good, or I'm like, ugh, I don't know. Um like swag. I can't take it serious. In my head I'm always just thinking of the music video, which I thought was hysterical. With like the Humvee that's just like flying around and like flipped over and burning and stuff. It's just very chaotic. um so you know, I don't know, I feel like sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. I really liked their cover though. um Dragon Ashes. Oh my gosh, I can't think of a single song title right now, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm a mess. Um, I just thought it was really good. Basically, I think that honestly, I'm like, oh man, I don't even know. I have to say that I really like that one and Akanyatsura right now are tied, kind of, but also the Cat's Whiskers has been super good. Like, I don't even know if I can rank them because I feel like they're all good, and then I just kind of feel neutrally about Inmates, but it's not that it's bad. I just think it's like fine. I don't think the original song was my music anyway. Yeah, I Isabella, I struggled so hard to say that one in my video. I had to record it like 5 times. I don't know what it is, but I was like Fantasista, but I kept on like screwing it up. So I don't know. I can't say it in the first place apparently. Let me see. Ambrel Inmate 3. I do think Inmate might have been second in terms of least favorite or more neutral, and I think a lot of people were just kind of like, they're there. And I do kind of feel like a lot of times they kind of just get like, they're just there, which is unfortunate because I think that they're narratively there could be a lot of interesting things happen. See, I guess like at least I, Kokoro Odoru, I feel like I guess yeah, if you're like Kokoro Odoru, it's not. Now I'm just thinking about when I was teaching English in Austria, and the word that all of my students hated the most was rural, like describing people who live like outside of cities, like in the countryside or something, just because of the R's. I don't know if that's why you're having a hard time. I just assume things, I guess. But yeah, Fantasista. I kept on trying to add syllables like Fantastia or something, and I don't know. I was jumbling it super bad. I feel like I kept on trying to say like fantasy, Fantasia, maybe. I don't know. Ugh. Let's see. We are up to the 25 to 20. It is kind of fascinating, I guess. I do feel like maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Bay trends a lot higher in the younger crowd usually. I guess not really though, because the 15 to 17 feel kind of neutral. It looks like. Oh, they really like Goku like that. Okay, well there you go. It is also interesting, though, obviously, as well. It's not like it's a huge group of people, so it's not necessarily like I have. I wouldn't say necessarily that I have enough people to really say this is like an objective fact about trends. We did ultimately get about 327 responses, which is a lot. Like, the first time I ran a survey like this, I got like 76 responses. So this is honestly huge. But you know, I obviously can't make like a definitive statement like, ah, yes, people from this age range like this kind of music. It's more just it's going to depend on the people and stuff, and I think that like, you know, region might play a part. I assume, and again, I can't, you know, assuming is not the best, but I could assume that maybe people who are like Latin American or something might gravitate towards Akanyatsura because they have that kind of sound, but I couldn't say it for a fact. Let's see. Honestly, yeah, I felt like Kento. I okay. In my head though, it was like Chiaki was like Kobayashi was like, I got this. I'm in so much BL content. I get to say the word ejaculation. This is me. I was kind of like, I was hoping it would get to 300, but I was not confident it would reach 300. Because, like, obviously I saw, like, exponential growth between, like, the first couple days, and then after that it really dropped off, and I got, like, 5 to 7 responses, it felt like, every other day after that. But we did clearly reach 327. So there were plenty of responses, and I think it was really cool as well. I can't really... I guess, like, I should have been... Maybe I should have said country of, like, where you live instead of region, because then some people would say, like, North America or, like, Asia or something, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not specific, so I can't really get necessarily, like, the highest quality data from that, but there were a lot of different places on there, which was really interesting as well. Like, some people, I'm like, man, it's really cool that we all somehow managed to come together and find this random music or media project, Oh, man. Oh, I've just realized I'm entering the wrong stuff in this category. I have been sleeping at the wheel, I'm so sorry. Which would explain why they're all the same. If I had been paying attention, I would have noticed that they were all the same values as the column right next to it. Ugh, I'm a fool. 6 for Bay. This is what I assume my friends who work in, like, corporate settings do all day. I don't know that for a fact. I just assume this is what you do. I'm making a lot of assumptions today. Yeah, Akan Yatsura 100%. For example, so I have my sister married a Mexican guy, and at their wedding, I feel like they had, like, Bad Bunny and everything. I'm like, I could play an Akan Yatsura song and no one would even think twice. I should have just done it. I just, like, requested. But everyone's like, wait, what? No, but yeah, I like Latin music, though, so I took, like, Spanish in high school and in middle school, and, like, so I was able to listen to the music all the way back, like, starting then, and I just always thought it was just really good, so I've even, like, still today like it. So I'm like, naturally I like Akan Yatsura. Also, I love a gangster or delinquent character. I think that they do have a couple that really feel very, like, gangsta West Coast, like AKYR kind of really hits that on the head. And I'm trying to think. I mean, they did the Jersey Club recently with Dawn Dawn. It felt very creepy nuts. That's what I'm saying. You could be dancing to the Bad Boys at the wedding. That'd be so much fun. License to Kill at a wedding would be so funny. It's so ominous. Maybe you could do, like, Leave It to Me. That would be a nice uplifting message. Call for families, and suddenly we all feel like we're in an emotional moment in a drama. I like that every time it's an emotional Akan Yatsura moment, they're like, alright guys, cue Call for Families. Let's see here. We just did Budaikon. We're at Visti now. 6. Ugh, that's such a bummer. I hate it when, like, you find something that's really fun and then, like, I don't know, a year or some months later you go back to try to find it. You can't. It's like, I have, like, my actual real life, like, my normal YouTube channel that I've had since, like, middle school. And it's got no, it was from high school. I've had it since high school, and it's got, like, all the likes I've ever given before. And, like, half of them are, like, still from, the 2010s or whatever. And they're, like, Hitalia MAD videos and stuff. But it's always, like, sad when I see one that's, like, no longer there. Because then I'm wondering, like, what, like, Vocaloid whatever something was it? Hell, I could only guess. What a throwback. But I don't discount anything. Like, any reason to get into something I think is a good reason. I started studying German because I was really into Hitalia, and now that's my job. So I can't cast stones living in this glass house of mine. Dude, Clip Clop would have been such a good one. My niece loves that one now. My little Mexasian niece. She looks a lot like her dad, actually. She looks a little bit like my sister, but mostly like her dad. She's very cute, though. Oh, wait, did that just copy the exact same thing? I swear to God. No, that's right. Okay. I am a literal unk. It's true. It's true. Look, I am, like, so unk that I was into Hitalia before it got popular. I got into Hitalia when it was not popular yet. And, like, really the only people who were talking about it were, like, history and, like, culture nerds. And so it was a very different, like, feel to the fandom in those early days, because it was like college students and stuff who were like, oh, I love talking about this thing from blah blah blah, or oh, I made this beautiful artwork piece based on this event that happened in like 1578 or something. You know, like, it was a very, like, cool kind of thing to see, with all these different, like, history and culture and language people getting together and talking about things that they could, like, imagine or illustrate through the characters. And then, like, it got really popular, and so, like, anytime something gets really popular, you get, like, just it's like, I think that, like, when things get really popular, like, a lot of young people get really into it, and then it's hard because, you know, young people don't, like, middle schoolers aren't exactly known for having the best, like, worldly understanding or sensitivity towards things that are, like, sensitive issues. So then you end up with, like, 9/11 fanfics or, like, Holocaust fanfics or something, because it's written by, like, a 13-year-old who doesn't really understand the concepts that they're playing with, right? And I think that's kind of what happened in a lot of senses, which is a bummer, because I have a lot of fond memories. I met a lot of my friends, my, like, European friends I met through Hitalia back in the day. when I studied abroad in 2014, oh my God, I feel really old sometimes. It's just, and I tell you, if you, like, work with young people, like, as a teacher, you routinely feel really old. I think last year was the first year I had a student who was born the year I graduated high school. And it did not feel great. I had to, like, immediately contact all my friends and tell them that we had reached that level of oldness. Oh man, Visti was not appreciated by this demographic here. I know, Gio. I feel like Hitalia makes me go, like, oh, it's like I feel like we were in the war together. I'm like, oh, I wonder what happened to them. I still see stuff though occasionally. Like, I'm pretty sure they have, like, 12 like, musical stage shows at this point. They've been doing stage shows for, like, the last, I don't know, like, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and it's insane. Good for them. 5 and Goku luck. Yeah, no, Kreitzy, I'm never gonna be, like, not be mad. So, my study abroad semester in Germany, I was in Hamburg, and I was there until, like, May, and then I had to go back to the US because it was the end of the semester, and I went back, and then, like, a week or 2 weeks later, Germany won the World Cup, and I was like, I should have just stayed. I could have been partying with my friends. Ugh, I'm still sad about it. I should have just stayed. I look, Rebel, like those are like all the kinds of things that like my friends and I would know. You know what I mean? Like we're yeah, that's me. It is funny because like every year, you know, you go look at like anime or whatever stuff, and I feel like my friends and I increasingly are like, who the heck are these people? What is this series or whatever? And then it's like old school, like blah blah blah. Here's this one, and we're like, oh no. It gets worse every year. It really is, right? Or it's like, oh, this anime you watched in high school, 25 years old, and you're like, oh, that the math doesn't work out on that one, but I can't believe it. Like, oh man. I will say also as like I don't know, this is so I when I was like studying abroad and stuff and also in Italia, I got like I became like really fond of Eurovision and stuff, which is just like I used it for a lot of the like the first years I was teaching. I would show my students some of it to kind of like give them things to it's like a cultural thing I guess for my students where it's like, hey, this is this like ridiculous song contest and you can like watch you're like we can talk about different European countries you've never heard of because as American you don't know geography, and I don't think any of you could find Latvia on a map. Maybe I do have kids who are really good at geography, so if any of my students are listening, I know you're out there, but you know there are a lot of kids in America that just don't know a lot of European countries and stuff. Um, but like in recent years, it's so grim. You're just like you know, like from a personal standpoint, I'm like, hey, why are we letting a certain country take part in this? This is really not great. I know they're like the number one, like you know, what sponsor or whatever. Like they're one of their companies is like the number one sponsor, so they're just like kind of stuck there. But it's so bad. It really sucks too because like I have students who really enjoy watching Eurovision, and so we kind of do, but then it's just very hard because again like it's just really I don't know, it's very frustrating. It's one of those things that I have a lot of like grim feelings about, I think, but you know that's my personal thoughts on that. Let's see, 0 for amp. There are a couple zeros on this one. I was wondering why we only had 6 on here. Yeah, I was trying not to name names. I feel like people probably know Kreutzy, like people who know. But yeah, it's been really hard. Because again, I do have students who just genuinely really love the kind of goofy, just weird, whatever, like element of Eurovision or just like listening to music that they might not usually listen to. And I do always think it's a really good opportunity for again like American students to interact with European culture just to kind of get perspectives and things that aren't just in America, right? Like, because for example, like this past year, Switzerland had a song about like a girl who's in love with another girl or something, and so I had students be like, "Oh my god, they're lesbians," and it's like, "Yeah, oh my god, other countries feel less whatever about it," um, you know. But uh, let's see, and then finally Goku luck on this one. This has been all right. I guess there are obviously also fewer people in this one, so I was gonna say, once you get past the like the 20s, there are a lot fewer people. But you know that's fine. There are a couple people who are older than my age group, so you know that's cool too. Gosh, I really hope so. Like Rebel, you have no idea. I think also it's just like so many people have been so vocal and they're losing countries who are like, you know, Ireland and Iceland and I know the Netherlands and like Spain. Like they're losing big countries that have been like a big part of the competition in the past who are just like, no, we're not going to keep doing this. So I really hope so because I would love to be able to enjoy the just camp energy of Eurovision again. But yeah. Also, all the Germans in the chat. I wish Germany would send a good song so badly. Germany send a good song challenge. Impossible. Ugh. Oh, that is not the group. I need Akan Yatsura next. 3 on Akan Yatsura. And then Budaikan. 1 for Budaikan. One for Visti. Yep. 1 for Visti. 1 for... Oh, I'm assuming 3 for Inmate. Nope. 3 for Inmate. Where's my amp rule? No amp rule. Okay, they're the one. I didn't get a vote on that one. And... Good luck. I know, right? Crazy. Oh my god. This shouldn't be this hard, but they're just like, I don't know who we should send. How about someone boring again? How about somebody who can't actually sing? Let's do that. And you're like, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Just... Whatever. Whatever, man. It's fine. I didn't want to listen to good music anyway. Gosh, the girl this year is... Oof. I know, if they just were, like, let the Germans be true to themselves and just stick with, like, you know, some, like, techno, house music, whatever. You know, Cascada, bring her back again. Cat's Whiskers, Cosmez, no Cosmez this time. Let's see. Akan Yatsura. 4 Akan Yatsura. And Budaikan. I will be very curious once I get into the, like, the character preferences, because I think once we look at some of the, I'm very curious how the age disparity plays out, or, like, what different age groups find, like, appealing in different characters. Because that was a thing I haven't really looked at before, or since, like, yet, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But I would imagine it'd be different things. My hypothesis, if you will, my heretofore validated hypothesis is that there will be disparities in which characters are appealing to different people or relatable to different people based on age ranges. But that being said, though, too, like, even adults can obviously relate to, like, teenagers, because we were once 5 billion years ago teenagers. 3 for Inmate, and how many for Goku Luck? I'm so glad I don't do this for work. This is so tedious. Oh, there we go. Let me... Okay. Least favorite group for the 30-35 age range. Let's go. Ha 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 ha. Technically, this is Google Sheets and not Excel. They are legally distinct for purposes, I guess. I don't know the difference. It's a spreadsheet. All spreadsheets look the same to me. I only use spreadsheets at my work when I have to, or when I'm, like, doing field trips, so I can keep track of who has turned in a permission slip to me, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is handled by, like, software the school has. Akan Yatsura, I don't know why I lost. Oh, no. nobody has Akan Yatsura as their least favorite. I was joking with friends. This is a joke for the purposes of humor. I was joking with friends. I'm like, yeah, this is the real reason I asked for location, is for all the people who said Akan Yatsura is their least favorite. I know where you live now. It was a joke. Please don't cancel me. The Suiseki Gumi will find you, but do not be afraid. You may be adopted if you have a sad enough backstory. Alright. Oh my gosh, this is the wrong color. Where's my additional formatting? There we go. Alright. So, oh wait, I forgot. We got the 35 and up. We're almost done though. Oh man, we're so close to being done with the ages. Drones. Oh, gosh. Could you imagine? Dude, Shinichi Toki, like, one of my students knows Shinichi Toki just because he's Rui. So, I have students who are very into Project Sekai, so I'm like kind of up to date on that, I guess. I'm not up to date. I just know the characters. Oh, cool. I don't even have the sword on this one. Nice. 1 Bay, 0 Cat's Whiskers, 0 Cosmes, 2 Akan Yatsura, 1 through Icon, 0, 0, 0, 1. Cool. Alright. Name drops in Paradox Live. It is fun though. Like I have like one of my students is literally, actually probably a couple of them are like literally teaching themselves Japanese, like genuinely like studying kanji and stuff, which good for them, honestly. I feel like for years I've just been kind of like doing the absolute bare bones attempt to try anything where I'm like, all right, I know hiragana and katakana kind of, and I know like some basic kanji, and then I just never take the time to do anything else. And I feel like after all of this time, I would have probably been fine if I'd actually taken it seriously at all. But I don't know. I keep on being like, I'm distracted because I also study other languages, and I'm like, whatever, and then I just procrastinate and don't actually do anything. One of these days I'll sit down and take it seriously, I say to myself, and the day never comes. 0, 0, 0. Goku luck. Alright. And least favorite. Man, Kreutz's out here in the chat just threatening all kinds of stuff. I would like to disavow the statements of Kreutzy. I have nothing to do with any of that. Let's see here. Cosmos 0, 0. Visty 2, 0, 0, 0. Okay, cool. Alright, so there are 5 of those. Alright, so here now I can show you all the things. These are all of the preferences of group based on the... This is really small, actually, probably for you guys, since I have it in a little frame thing. But I have all of it quantified, basically. So, for example, for the 14 and younger crowd, there's actually a 2-way tie. There are 5 responses, which is actually interesting because there are also, 6 responses for 36 and older. So, yeah. We have, in the 5 responses for 14 and years and older, Inmate and Goku Luck were tied with 2 each. 2 votes each as their first favorite. And a lot of, I guess, other ties in there. You have, Cosmez is tied for second favorite. Visty's tied for third favorite. Least favorite was Amperl with 2 votes. Oh, there are 6. Wait. No, there are 5. I'm bad at counting. Yeah, Amperl 2 votes is least favorite. 15 to 17 group, we had 13 for Goku Luck. That's going to be the most favorite, I guess. Second favorite, Goku Luck again, and then third favorite was Cosmez. Overall, Goku Luck received the most votes, followed by Misty, and then Akanyatsura. And this is like information that I'm going to at some point. I'll like actually formally put together all the numbers and like have charts and stuff. I just haven't got there yet. So this is just what I have for now, so that I can keep track of who likes what, etc. Man, compulsory. That's wild. I don't want to ask where you live because I feel like that's like intrusive, but I'm curious where you live, Geo, for compulsory Japanese. There we go. Let's see. Then we have for the 21 to 24. Oh, sorry, the 18 to 20 group. We had Goku Luck and Akan Yatsura were actually tied. That's fascinating. And then the second tie was actually Bay and the Cat's Whiskers, which, oh my gosh, what a wild. It was actually, again, I keep on saying actually very interesting, but it is interesting to me. I feel like the Cat's Whiskers, honestly, did way better in the polls than I thought, based on, like, I feel like their performance in, like, the stage battles and the voting and stuff. There were a lot of times I felt like the Cat's Whiskers was almost scoring as well or better than Cosmez, which was fascinating to me. But again, this is my 2 cents, if you will. Akanyatsura ultimately, though, if we go and, you know, again, add up all of from the first, second, and third, amount of times that they showed up in the vote, Akanyatsura had the most votes overall, even though they tied here for... Goku Luck is not behind by much at all, though. That was a pretty close one. And then again, Amperl, by far and away, the least favorite of the 18 to 20-year-old demographic. We had the 21 to 24-year-olds. Akanyatsura is the overwhelming favorite, also with the highest amount of votes overall in the top 3 categories. Least favorite, again, Amperl by a decent margin, but followed very, like, not very far behind by Inmate, actually, on this one. Over here we have 25 to 29. We have let's see, Akanyatsura with the most votes. By like a pretty decent margin on that one. And then 30 to 35, Akanyatsura again to lead with the most votes overall. And then Amperl again, least favorite, all across the board. Except for the 36 and older, in which Visti, Cosmez, and Bay were the least favorites. But again, I guess that I think it makes kind of sense, because I think that the Cat's Whiskers, Bay, Cosmez, and Visti are very kind of like, their songs and the media and like their messaging and their character like behaviors and personalities are very much, I think, aimed at sort of that younger demographic, so it makes more sense to me. For Real is genuinely, yeah, I would agree. For Real is a fantastic song. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you said that earlier, and I completely forgot, but now I'm recalling that, yes, you did say Australia. Interesting. I guess that makes sense, like, being in Oceania. Yeah, usually in America, we have, like, you have 3 options. It's usually Spanish, French, and German. Some schools, if you're fancy, will have, like, Mandarin. I never went to any of those schools, but some of them do have that as an option. And that's, I'm trying to think. I think like some high schools do have Japanese, but it's not very common, for sure. I do think, like, I'm very fond of their like opening show songs at this point, just because they're kind of the image songs, if you will. I think Master of Music has good parts. The Meow 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 is a good part. It's a good bit. I don't know why I'm doing sums as if I need it when they're like 1 or 2 points overall, but I'm trying to be consistent here on my very high level spreadsheet form. All right. The character data is going to be so much more. I should have taken a note of, hold on. I should have taken note of why people have these groups. Hold on. Let me do everybody real quick. Oh, yeah. I do remember the mandatory English, French, Latin, Spanish. Those are the ones that I saw, like, when I was doing, like, English assistanting in Austria, they would be, yeah, it'd be, like, English, French, Spanish, Latin. I want to say that was it at the schools where I was, like, placed. But I did also go to this like language tournament for, I think it was like ultimately for students who were going to go into hospitality, but it was really cool because it was just them, like you would ask them a question and they had to answer it in your language that you were testing them in. So I was there as an like an English language judge, where I'd ask them questions like about, for example, a property they were renting to me, and then they would have to like answer me in English, and then there were Spanish judges and they'd have to like ask a question in Spanish and they'd answer. Like as an American, I think it's just like very cool. Because we don't get to do that very much, and so seeing like teenagers do it in other countries is really admirable, and I wish we had I wish we had people that cared that much here. Gosh. Let's see. All right. Overall, I would like to see. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how I would go through sorting this. Obviously, it looks like people's favorite groups are typically chosen on music. That's like number one, which makes sense. Again, it's pretty good music. Some of them are going to be other things as well. Do we have people who typed in stuff? Let's see. Some people had write-in answers, which I will collect now that I look at this. This person has the most valid opinion that they love everything about Akan Yatsura. I got somebody shouting out Gakun. Yeah, a lot of people did shout out their favorite voice actors as well. So that makes sense. We've got the non-binary rep god. Let's see. It is very interesting though, because obviously, if I'm not looking exactly at the answer with the group, some of them I'm like, what group are we talking about? This is the Cat's Whiskers. I was gonna say it could be kind of anyone, but it makes sense, I guess. They're talking about grief, though. I do feel like grief could have gone with Akan Yatsura as well. So this person had said, for example, they're so near and dear to my heart. They all came together with grief in their hearts and bonded as a family. It's a good one. That's fine, Croitzy. Hopefully, maybe next time around or something. Granted, it'll probably be a couple years. I don't know. We'll see. I might have to do follow-ups or something because I would be very interested in, for example, like ships or something. Let me see here. Oh, the design illustrator. That's a good point. The character design illustrator. I do like that they had like different artists design the groups. It was crazy though, not to go telling on myself, that like Akan Yatsura, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this was by Harada? The one that does those messed up Gintama Dojinshi? Oh man. Very funny. I wish that I could like enjoy more Harada works, but I do feel like every time I'm like really invested in one of their stories or something, they throw in something where I'm like, oh, and I can't like One Room Angel had such a, I was like so locked in and I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my god, this is so like, I don't know, there's something such like visceral about it and very emotional, whatever. And then at the end they're like, we'll fake date. me, the adult man in his 30s, and the middle school kid, and I'm like, which is like, I mean, it's all. It's one of those where, like, it's like fiction, it's whatever, but like it's also not a thing that I'm gonna go seek out to read necessarily. It just kind of frustrated me because I felt like all the rest of it was very nice and like really genuinely nice, and then like you just have this moment where I'm like, oh, well, I kind of hate that ending. Hello, Razzle Dazzle. Sorry, jump scare. um, yeah. uh Harada has some like works that are fun, and then has some works that are definitely like not my thing, but you know what, good for you. You know, I do like the diversity. That's good. We got, what else we have? People, I wonder if there, maybe I should have, well, I wonder if there are other things that I should have enjoyed or in included. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh my god, I should have included as well, though I feel like this is pretty consistently people seemed satisfied with what I had as options. All right. Oh yeah, Goku Luck does have some good character interactions as well. I wish that we got, again, more. I got a lot into it in my video that I'm slowly editing. I don't know that I'll ever do another off. I keep on saying I won't do another off the cuff video, and then I'll do another one. It's just such a pain to edit because I'll like listen to it, me talking, just like saying things off the top of my head, and then I go back and go, oh, I forgot this, or like, oh, that's not right. I meant that, or you know, there are a bunch of these spaces of me just not saying anything. um so just it's awful to edit, mostly just because I have to cut out 5 trillion minutes of me fumbling for words like an idiot. But oh my gosh, let's see. Tom has my specialist boy. I do also think it's very fun in a sense as like an adult who engages with like fandom and stuff, like in, I guess, in a sense. I think it's a lot of fun how your perspective kind of shifts. You go from like viewing people as like your peers to now as like an adult, I'm like, oh, these are like my students. Like, oh, I'm like watching them grow up, and I'm like, oh, look at them, they're doing so well. Like, I think it's kind of fun. Or like people where they're like, oh, this is my son or whatever. I like, I know young people also do that too, but I feel like as you get older, it becomes a lot more real. Okay, first group I saw online. It's interesting. Yeah, I should do another one where I ask about like how long people have been in the fandom, what they know about the fandom, what they've engaged with at the fandom. Things like that, because I am really interested. Sorry, I am very interested to know like if people are mostly like new, kind of coming into it, or they're people who maybe left for a while and are coming back to it. Because I know that there are a lot of people. Again, this will be covered in my video that'll eventually come out, hopefully, hopefully soon. There are a lot of people, I think, who just lost a lot of momentum and steam during the Road to Legend, uh, which is fair. There are a lot of issues in general. But yeah, I am just generally really curious to know kind of how people get into it, got into it, are into it, etc. Anyway, alright, cool. Alright. Do we think we can get into the character data now? I'm scared, but we can probably do it. Oh man. Alright. I don't know why I chose to do this. Oh man, alright. Yeah, definitely. I will, it'll probably be different things. Like, it'll be about different things, but I would be very interested to know like how people came across the series, what brought them into it. I do feel like in these kind of Josei Muke or like media projects, a lot of people get pulled in because of different voice actors. I know that's how I came into this whole thing. Um, just because maybe you like a character and then you look up the voice actor, and then you look up other roles played by the voice actor, and the next thing you know, you're down like 50 rabbit holes, right? So I'm like in that camp, but are there people who came across it because of the artist? Are there people who came across it because of cosplays? Or, I don't know, hearing music on like things or stuff like that? Maybe they watch the anime, for better, for worse, all these kinds of things. So I'm very fascinated. There you go. See, but I think that's razzle dazzle. I think that's kind of how it is, though, right? In a world of like media, social media, and stuff, there are just so many different weird rabbit hole things that you can find. They just happen across, and you can kind of go down that rabbit hole, which again is a lot of fun. I love a fandom wikia. You know. I feel like I like Wave and Flag now, but I feel like if I had heard that song in high school, my brain would have exploded. I would have been like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest song ever!" Like I think that like I would have been way into it in high school. Um, okay, let's see here. We are going to characters, starting with relatability. How am I even going to sort this? Okay. Starting with Alan, let's go. Oh, wait, I need to filter for the ages. There are too many characters in this series. Also, Shiki was like the most relatable overall. Everyone related to Shiki. Alan. Okay, there's one person who relates to Alan here. One person with Hajun. Hajun. Kanata. Dongha. Chongsong. With full respect, I really have a lot of questions about your life. That Chongsong is a relatable character to you. With total full respect, I'm fascinated. I want to know what happened. I guess though, in a sense, it does. I like, especially reading the light novel. I guess being a person where you feel like your meaning or the only thing that you can offer people is to be kind of like a punching bag to them so that they can emotionally vent at you. I guess that is something that people could relate to. I think that that's actually more common than people would think. But yeah, it is interesting though. I'm curious now. Let's see here. All right, so that was that one. Hajun, Kenta, okay. Shiki, Toma, and Kei. Shiki, Toma, and Kei. And that was everyone. All right, cool. It makes sense that the 14-year-olds would gravitate towards mostly 14-year-old characters, and then a well-meaning but maybe slightly stunted character with Kanata. Also, shout out to Jackal at Snake Brain for pointing out that not everyone feels that characters are relatable, and made me go, "Oh yeah, that is a very good point, valid," and I had to change it. All right, so Likeabill, Alan, Ryu, and Toma. Toma seems like a really likable guy, actually. Anne. Shiki again. And Aoi. There we go. Honestly, like, Aoi is a lot less popular than Anne. I guess I'm not surprised. But yeah. They are also 16, so there's that. Chongsong, Shion, Kenta, Kanata. Sorry, this is a lot more focus intensive than the other one is, so I have to kind of pay a little bit more attention. Let me finish this one, and I will look at the chat again. Shion and Kenta. All right, let's see. A lot of people, by the way, Polly Bay was like definitely one of the more popular things that I noticed in the listing of people's like ships that they really like. I don't know that Aoi is necessarily closeted, in the sense that, as far as I'm concerned, like I do also read Aoi as being just a trans man, given the fact that he lives as a guy, right? Um, so to me, like I guess I don't think that necessarily he's closeted. I think it's just he is in a position right now where he doesn't want to jeopardize his position as like living as the kind of person he wants to be. Um, but yeah, I think that maybe like for example, he might not necessarily be the most. Well, I don't know. I guess like I do find him relatable though in a way. So I am just kind of very interested that like people did very much the people who related to Anne is just like even in like within that kind of like non-binary or like kind of trans inclusive group were far more likely to identify with Anne than with Aoi. And I guess maybe it is also because Aoi does not outright like there's no point at which Aoi outright is like I am trans, like it's just heavily implied, which I do think is also a very valid thing. Like you don't have to just say things, right? Like in uh what is it, in like in fiction you don't always have to say like they are gay, they are trans or whatever. Like I think that that's also valid. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just very maybe it is also because Anne's trauma and stuff has been a lot more explored in the series than Aoi's has, which is maybe also it. I see, but I guess like I get what you're saying, Rebel. I do think though that like a lot of trans people, like there is a decent chunk of the trans population that just lives stealth, and I don't necessarily know that I would consider living stealth as living in a closeted. Like in a sense, it kind of is, but also I think that a lot of there is like a significant portion of the trans population that are just kind of like I just want to transition and get on with my life, and it's really not like important to me necessarily that people know how I was born maybe just because that's not who I am now. It's kind of like if somebody was born with like an extra finger and they had it removed, you don't necessarily go through the rest of your life going, "Oh yeah, I used to have a sixth finger and then I got cut off." And I think there are a lot of people in the community who do feel that way. And I think especially as you get older, like when you are more like towards my age and older, at some point you're just like, I'm just a guy. I just live as a man. I don't there aren't a whole lot of things that I do in my life that are necessarily this way or that way. So at this point, you know, it's not always the most important to me that everyone knows, right? I think for me personally, though, I do think it's important that like certain students know because I think it's very important for me as a teacher and kind of a mentor figure in students' lives and young people's lives. It is important to me personally that young trans people know that there are trans adults who are just normal people who work normal jobs and have normal lives, and that's like a thing. You can just one day you will grow up, one day you will have opportunities to transition and do whatever else, and one day you will be able to just be authentically yourself, and all of the dysphoria and the frustration and the kind of like social things that just feel really heavy and intense at the time of like being a young person where you're kind of stuck. At some point it's all so far in the rear view mirror you kind of forget, and the people around you almost kind of forget. Like I have friends now who I hang out with a lot. We're always chatting and we'll be on Discord or whatever, and they like regularly forget that I'm trans. That's like a very common. They're like, you know what, you said that and I didn't even think about it, and yeah, I forgot, because it's just not a thing necessarily that's super like relevant to necessarily my daily life, if that makes sense. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I'm reading the comments now. I do. I just like it means a lot to me, I think, because I think especially right now in America, there's so much like anti-trans and misinformation. The sentiment is just generally bad. And I think that again, even in the face of all of this, it's really important to remind people that like, yeah, there's gonna be hateful people who are trying to tell you trans people are delusional or they're, fakers or whatever else. Whatever stupid nonsense they're gonna say. But like ultimately, like we're just normal people. We're just normal people. At some point, you go, oh yeah, I do feel this way, or I do want this thing, and then most of us we transition and get on with our lives, and that's pretty much it. Now we're just kind of like everybody else who has normal problems in their lives. And I think that being said, it is really important that safe adults are available for young people to talk with openly and authentically about these things, because even like, let's say, even if you do grow up and go, you know what, I thought that maybe I was this or that, and now that I'm older and I have a little more worldly perspective and I've thought about things more, I think I might just be like gender nonconforming, or I think actually I might be like a butch lesbian, or I might be more of kind of just like interested in like drag or something, and that's not necessarily who I am now. But like, even if that's the case, like, I think it's important that young people are able to explore these ideas and identities and things for themselves, and do kind of ask themselves questions without being afraid to do so. I think it's better to allow somebody to ask themselves the question of, could I be trans, or could I be gay or bisexual or whatever. I think it's better to have them able to ask those questions to themselves in a safe environment where they might ultimately go, yeah, I thought so, but maybe not. As opposed to them being too afraid to ask the question in the first place. And then, somewhere down the line, they kind of like, you reach that mental breaking point where you can't take the pressure anymore, you know? Oh, thanks, guys. It means a lot. I take it pretty seriously, though, because I do want to advocate for young people. Um, it just, I don't know. It's really important. I remember being a young kid, like when I was first questioning my like being attracted to women, I guess at the time. Um, and also, I guess like when I was younger though too, I wasn't really into guys. Because I at the time it didn't make sense, but I'm like, I don't want to be someone's girlfriend, right? I think I wasn't necessarily opposed to guys, but I didn't want to be someone's girlfriend, and that was what really stuck with me. But I did realize I was also into women, so I was kind of like I was so anxious, and I was really like convinced that people around me were gonna judge me or hate me, or assume bad things about me and stuff, just because that was kind of like I think that sometimes too you can get in your own head and you're convinced that that's the case. And so if somebody openly is telling you, hey, I think it's really great, I think that if you're you and you do like, date whoever you want, or how identify how you want and stuff like that, sometimes just having that relieves a little bit of that pressure that sometimes students just internalize and feel for themselves. And I know that sometimes it's really easy to assume that everyone you encounter is going to be a transphobe or like a homophobe or something. But I also feel like now, again, having grown up and put some of this time behind me and stuff, I think a lot more times you find that people around you are like, oh, okay. Like, every once in a while you'll have someone who makes like kind of a negative statement, or they're, oh, will you always be this person to me or something. And it's just like, okay, but like, then they're usually not a part of your life anymore, but yeah, I don't know, I do really appreciate my job because I want to be able to be a resource to people, and kind of like a safe space for people. So anyway, that's my sappy I don't know, discussion here. Let's see. Oh yeah, 100% though. It's really important, I think, especially because like, I don't know, being a teenager is already weird as it is, right? Like you already have like all these weird things that you're thinking about yourself or about the world in general. So like it really it doesn't help when you have then additional weird feelings about other things, right? It's a mess being a teenager. And I can't even imagine what it's like now with like there's so much technology and everyone's so like chronically online and stuff. I feel like it would be too much for me like as a kid. I'm so glad that like I had like a DeviantArt account and like a fanfiction.net account and a Google Plus account that I used for role playing Hitalia, and I think that was like really. I did not have a MySpace. I did not have a Facebook, and I think that was for the best. Adolescence is insane. Like studying adolescent development as a person when I was like getting ready to teach part of my major in like my college studies, you do learn about like adolescent development, and it's like your brain just kind of turns into soup for like a certain amount of time. It's just like it's a mess, and so it like in hindsight like, oh, that makes sense. That's why everyone when they're like I don't know like 13 or 14, 15, 16, that's why everyone's just a disaster. No wonder your brain's going through so many crazy rapid changes that it's just, you know, being cringy is the least of your problems at that point in your life. So I feel like, you know, we should all embrace being a little bit cringy at some point. If you're not cringy, if you've never had a cringy phase, you're in your cringy phase. That's what I always tell my students. If you sit there and go, no, I've never been cringy before, and I'm not gonna be, you're cringy now. I do write on AO3 still. I wrote like one chapter this summer after thinking I'm gonna have all this time to work over the summer and do all these things. I ended up not doing any of those things. I have to update soonish. But then I took on like all these video and other thing projects, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and so now I'm doing this. But hopefully I'll get back to updating my fix soon here. Let's see here. But yeah, I have like a loose idea of how I'm gonna finish it, question mark. Um, but it's I'm not gonna lie, I'm still mad about the retcons. I talk about it in the video as well, where I'm just like, why do we have to retcon Akan Yatsura timeline stuff? The fact that they changed that like Zen went undercover with the Akan Yatsura and then became part of the family, to he went undercover and then 2 years later he joined the family. What are we doing? Why was he undercover for 2 years? And I'm still mad because like I up to that point in like the narrative, when we found that out, I had like all this stuff planned out, and then I had to completely change the timeline of the fan fiction. So it's fine. It's whatever. I guess. I'm not mad. but I'm still yeah. Let's see here. Elysia, yeah. Honestly, like even being in your early 20s, like being in your early 20s is also weird because I had like a period of time like where I think about now, like I remember being 25 and then thinking back of being like 20 to like 22, 23, 24 and being like, what was I doing? Like just, you know, like opinions or whatever had like swung so far different where I'm like, like I'm not even the same person anymore. What happened? Like it was really funny. I don't know. It happens. Oh my god, this is gonna be such a pain. Why did I do this? Maybe I can... okay. Let me... Wait, hold on. Let me clear those, and then show me all of the one... There we go. Aha! I am learning how to do this. Oh my god, I didn't do it right. Okay, we're getting there, guys. I promise. We're... perfect. Alright. I shall prevail over this technology, I swear. Oh, you should, Gio, you should definitely write your Chiseiharu fic or post it. Like, I don't know, I think that writing fanfiction's a lot of fun. I think it's a great exercise for people who like to do creative writing. Also, yeah, you know, sometimes you connect with people who also just really feel strongly about different ships or whatever else. Like sometimes you capture things. I don't know. Like different people will capture different scenes or different connections or elements of relationships or something really well, and just blow your mind. I'm still waiting for this one Japanese fiction, like fan fiction writer, to release this fan fiction that like this EO Zen, like it was like a novel. Like they released it as like a book. It's like they wrote this like EO Zen story, and I had to read it with a translator, which was a disaster. I was just using a screen translator though, and like the translator on my phone, which was a mess. But it was like so harrowing, and now I'm just waiting for them to release it, like because they said that they would release it fully online, and like after a year of it being like out, and so I'm waiting for them to update because I need to know how it ends. Oh my god. I don't know. We don't know anything about season 4 yet. Like they're having an event, but I don't want them to add any more characters, Kreuzy, cuz like I think they already have too many to use effectively. Like I feel like they're already not necessarily using all of the characters they have to the like fullest of their potential. You know what I mean? Also, I shout out to all the people who are talking right now in the chat about having OCs. Like that's so cool. I think it's really awesome when people make up their own little fan units. I wish I had that I don't know, the drive to do so. I don't have that right now. I have like my stupid OCs, like the one who's like a conspiracy theorist who is like going around telling everyone that Chisei died 10 years ago, and that the new one is he thinks it's like a government conspiracy or something, but he doesn't know what's going on. I have that one OC. Yeah, Razzle Dazzle. So originally in the first fan book, it says that Zen went undercover when he was 20 or 21. I want to say 21. Like when he went undercover when he was 21, and then he joined the family. Right, he fell in love with the quote unquote the spirit of the Yakuza, and he like joined the family. When the second fan book came out, they changed it so like because I presumably because of Inukai's timeline. So to change, they like adjusted it so then 2 years after he went undercover, Zen then joined the family, which also makes me a little bit salty because that means that Hokusai was kind of taken in by the family before Zen formally joined the family, even though Zen was there the whole time. I don't know. I'm still salty about it. I don't like it. So it isn't that you were like gone a long time. It's just that they retconned it because of like adding Yudo, I guess. I don't know. I'm sad about it. It's whatever. Geo, I think it's really funny to imagine this guy who just like he was a huge Budokan fan back in the day, and then like after everything happened with like Chisei and stuff, he's like, no, I swear to God, he died. That's why we haven't seen him in all these years. He only just came back, and then like he shows up on TV or whatever, and he's like, no, that's a government hologram or something. Like he comes up with the wrong conclusion. Like he's correct on half of it, but he comes up to the absolute wrong conclusion about the nature of Chisei. I think that'd be just really funny. Oh my gosh, yeah, Alicia, if you could make music to go with your group, that would be so insanely awesome. I'm again also very like envious of people who can create music. It's just such a cool skill. Man, how nobody relates to Zen. We need to get more gym people out here. Only one person relates to Satsuki. Sad. I mean, but Alicia, first off, just producing music in general is like, regardless of, I guess, like skill, quote unquote, like whatever. That's just that's awesome. You know, being able to do that in the first place is super cool. Especially in an era of AI slop. But also, you know, the more you do it, the better you get, right? So I feel like that's how I feel about writing. Like, I genuinely really enjoy writing and, like, drafting ideas and coming up, like, you know, setting up worlds and characters and interactions and stuff. But also, like, I don't necessarily think I'm, like, the best at it, but I like to do it because it's fun for me, right? I'm not trying to redefine literature or anything. I just think it's neat. 2 for Shogun. Oh my god, I hit the wrong button on that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. 12 people for... Oh, I forgot. Toma. Fool. Gotta check my Tamagotchi. Over the summer, my boyfriend and I decided to get really into Tamagotchis. So I've been doing that lately. Please ignore all of the beeping. It's fine. Oh my gosh, a fan cover band would be so much fun. Even like honestly, I'm always like so envious of like in Japan where they have like the collabs with karaoke places. Like getting together with your Paradox Live buddies and just doing Paradox Live karaoke sounds like so much fun. I'm terrible at rapping though, so it would not sound great, but I'd have a good time doing it. Wow, Kantaro is highly relatable to the 15 to 17 demographic. It makes sense. Like I said earlier, Ligia, there is no stupid way to get into something, right? You might like think, oh, it's really kind of cringe because I got into this. Because now, if it ends up with you doing something productive, I don't think there's there's no such thing as a stupid reason to get interested in something, right? Like, you know, all of like students being like, oh, I recently got into this thing because it's like in an anime I saw, and I'm like, that's sick. Having a new hobby or interest or talent, awesome. No way it can be stupid. Let's see here. That was K for 8. Let's like, I don't know. It's kind of like I've always been or like tried to stay pretty like active and fit, but like recently I'll be like, you know, Zen Gaho wouldn't skip gym day or, you know, go into the gym. I too should go work out today. Zen Gaho wouldn't eat empty calories. I should also not eat empty calories. Zen Gaho would make sure to eat enough protein today. I should also eat enough protein today. 4. Exactly. We should all strive to be more like Gaho Zen. Zen is too good for this world. Too kind. Too pure. Too housewifely. A lot of Kentas. Again, makes sense. We're in the 15 to 17 age range, so that makes sense. I mean, I guess like also in hindsight, given the fact that like Zen, it makes sense. Like my favorite Naruto character in when I was like in middle school, Rock Lee. Rock Lee's the greatest. He's my goat. So you know, they have like a similar vibe. All right, we're on to relatability. No, oh my god, no, I was right. Okay. Were there people who typed things? I have like Zen things all over actually. Like I have so much Zen merch and like standees and stuff. I do have sometimes I'll take my little like Zen like the little plush guy of Zen that I have and I put him out in like the garage where I have my like workout set up to like motivate myself. I'm like, oh, he's watching. I have to lock in. Let's see. Oh, right, I forgot I made a separate thing for this. All right, characters you like the most platonically. Also, I also yearn for that confidence. That is something I've always struggled with. Let's try, okay. So 4 Alan. It was actually really interesting. I think when I was looking again, nobody really cared about the separation by gender or whatever. But when I did look at like, I want to say that Satsuki actually was fairly high up on the list of relatable characters for guys. Whereas like, I want to say it was like Shiki, Alan, and then Satsuki. Whereas I think for women it was Shiki. Who was second? I feel like it was like Shiki and then Nayuta. It was like something kind of random. Um, and who was the other one? I don't remember off the top of my head. Oh my gosh, it's so. The Buraikon Nendos were so cool. I, man, I wish they had an Akan Yatsura. I would have gone broke buying all 5 of them. Ugh, my wallet weeps just thinking about. I'm still kicking myself for not buying that the like towel birthday merch when Zen's birthday merch was like that one. It was like that towel that's in his like character color or whatever. I should have got that, and I'm still mad about it, like that I didn't. But I was like, oh, I should be more mindful of my money, and then I didn't buy it, and now I just think about it every once in a while, going, oh, I should have bought it. Dude, Satsuki's I love Satsuki. He reminds me of some of my favorite students. Um I have like a really soft spot for students who are trying really hard and especially like, they're just trying their best and like sometimes, students have uh maybe some like regulation difficulties, like emotional regulation problems. Sometimes students will have like learning disabilities, obviously, or ADHD. Some students just have like dyslexia or other kinds of things like that. And students like that are usually they're like some of my favorite students because I feel like a lot of times they just have such a typically they'll have such a good attitude and they genuinely like they're already ready to put in the work when they show up. I think that sometimes students who don't have those kinds of experiences kind of take it for granted a little bit, especially when it's learning another language. Because like I think that a lot of times the dyslexic students I'll have in my class, it depends. I know at least one student was like trying to learn German with my dyslexia is actually awful and I can't do it. And I'm like, that's totally fine. But I also have some students with dyslexia who actually are like, I really like that German is phonetic, so it's really easy to sound out. And also, they are already used to taking a little bit more time to sound things out and think about the words that they're reading. And so they end up doing better at reading sometimes than students who don't have the dyslexia because students who don't have difficulties reading take it for granted, and so they just run in and they just start trying to like say things in a weird way where I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but like you sound it out. It's phonetic. That's the beauty of German. That's my teacher rant. I don't know. I have a couple students that I like really closely attached to Satsuki just because they had like similar like circumstances or similar like difficulties or something like that. And they're genuinely all of them were pretty sweet kids. They really wanted to try hard, and it was just hard because of the way that their brains worked, you know. Um, but I think we had like a pretty good connection ultimately in the end, and I you know they did their best. That's all I can ask for. I have to remember what order the students go in right now. Or the students. Oh my god. I have to remember what order all the characters are in right now without looking at the list because it's over here. Like, I guess I could use it like that. Oh my god, there's so many Ryus. I think like I'm fortunate enough to not be dyslexic, but yeah, German. I think a lot of times American students take one look at the word and they get like freaked out because you look at the word and it's like it's like 50 letters long and they're like oh and then you go wait calm down it's just a number or something and they're like oh yeah it is like 223 whatever like oh okay yeah I see all the words so like it is very common as like an English speaker when you start studying German to be very intimidated by long words because you don't know where to break them up. But I think it gets easier with time from my experience. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I do also like I think one of the stronger elements of Paradox Live Elysia is the way that it's kind of structured around sort of like trauma and things like that. Because like whether you like it or not, I do think that sometimes like having certain difficulties and stuff in life can create these very like relatable moments and I like that there are a lot of characters in this series that have very relatable experiences like not being accepted by your parents for your interests, right? Having your parents think your interests are stupid or not being accepted for the person you are, your identity by your parents. Something like having lost a loved one or feeling like responsible for the loss of a loved one. I think that those are all like kind of experiences that aren't unreasonable to like for a normal person to experience. Like some of them, like Akan Yasura, like losing your family in a raid is a little bit not necessarily the most common experience of a person, but I think like individually too, they're sort of extreme on some level. Where you like have a kid who's maybe their parent is a felon. That I unfortunately that is a fairly common thing that I see it with my students. Um, but like some things where you have like being abandoned or given up on by teachers and the adults in your life or kind of being tossed aside by your parents, things like that. Like I think there are elements within the characters that people can relate to, and I think it's nice to see these kinds of problems all shown at kind of the same level where it's like and you can have a discussion about like who has it worse, quote unquote, but like trauma affects us all differently, and it doesn't like just because maybe oh well you didn't get shot at, well that doesn't mean that I don't have trauma, that I didn't experience grief or pain or suffering in some way, right? And I think that it's kind of nice that it's kind of an equalizer here. It is a little bit odd. I'm not going to say it's like the best, right? I would never as much as I enjoy Paradox Live, I'm not going to say it's all been handled fantastically. Or all been written the best. But I do think it's nice typically that like they're all treated with kind of a level of seriousness, right? I think it is nice that they're all like, hey, regardless of what it is, being hurt, being traumatized and stuff like that, it can happen to anyone for anything, kind of. And, that doesn't make you a weak person or like, inherently flawed or anything. It just is. Gosh, I really I really want first off, I would love for these characters to be able to age at some point. Like can we get it like has it been a year yet? you know? Are they still like the same ages as when they started or have we like literally I'm pretty sure um I'm pretty sure that Iori says it's been like a year or something in one of the uh I think he says that like a lot of time has passed since they started. But like can we please age them like a year or two? There's been a lot that's happened in the last like 6 years or whatever. Secondly, um I would love for them to get to the I would love for them to get the Zen and like Hancho face off that we never actually got in even though like Trust and or Rage and Trust both teased it. We have never gotten Zen and Hancho like showdown, I guess. We've never gotten them actually up against each other in a meaningful way. And then I would also like them to talk about the human experiments because I feel like we also got a little bit of that teased and then it never went anywhere. It would be really nice to see that as well. Honestly, Geo, you're like an adult. Like he's in his 30s. Okay, once you're 30 years old in an anime, you're basically dead. You're like geriatric. Like I still think about how in Naruto, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru when they're like 50s, and everyone's like they're ancient. Oh, they're so old, and they're in their 50s. So yeah, I mean, yeah, he's already got a foot in the grave because he's 30. Like he's past his 30s, rather. Like yeah, so Simon is basically he's probably gonna have a cane at some point. He's gonna be like graying. Actually, also, I feel like we were also teased a little bit that Simon has not been feeling. Oh well, I guess he did get some treatment from Donghan. It was working well, but how is that all going? Like, how is the anti-erosion research going on that side? I'd like to know. Also, Razzle Dazzle, I am just reading your OC unit fairy tale themed group around the concept of love and sexuality. That's really interesting. That's awesome. I genuinely I think that there's so many cool possibilities that could be explored, right? Oh, you know what? I mean, Geo he did say that he would rather cut his life in half than live another like whatever amount of years without Chisei. So, he just wants to be with Chisei again. Sad yearning Haruomi. Sad yearning ramen man. I will say somebody did say that they related to Haruomi because they also like yearn and like mourn for the loss of a loved one, and I'm like, oh my god, that's heartbreaking. I hope whoever that was is doing okay. A lot of fashion on Shogo. Is it wrong of me to comment that Shogo's jacket looks just like Eido's from New Carnival? Can I say that? Even though his voice actor is actually Blade. Did everyone else see that New Carney is doing a collab with Dramatical Murder? Anyway, that might be a topic for a different time. Like a anywho. Alicia, that's a really I really like that concept. I hope you do something with it. Let me know because that is yeah, that's actually really cool. I feel like also I mean I guess I don't know. I couldn't say because I'm not in this industry, but I would have I feel like it would probably be worse in Japan maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of just like sexism that you see at least even represented in like anime or like manga and stuff like that, or in Japanese media. I feel like there's a certain level of just like accepted sexism where you're like that's not, I feel like we're all just assuming everyone does this. Like, why is every, like mother character a stay-at-home mom? Like, that just seems really unreasonable, or whatever. Which makes me also feel like, is that just like the general feeling of people there, or is that, a misrepresentation? I don't know. Either way, though, good, awesome concept. Yes, Rebel. I literally saw that and I was like, oh my god. Wow. Good for them. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading through your comment here. Okay, yeah, no, that sounds cool. I could I could definitely see that being kind of a cool like I don't know, that's a cool premise and I could see like, I don't know, it being, talking about maybe like experiences with kind of like sexism or being excluded from things inherently and stuff. That would be a really interesting dynamic to play out. I think like one of the first times I became aware of that kind of trope was literally in like Naruto, where I'm like, yo, why did like why do all the girls who have kids they just become stay-at-home moms? Like they're all like full-fledged ninja. What are we doing? The only one who doesn't works at a store that's like failing, which again feels a little bit like, oh, okay, dang. She doesn't even have a last name. Guys, I'm so old. I feel like I haven't read or watched any new anime in so long. But I feel like it also takes like every bit of my attention. And like I'm afraid to do that at this point. Because I'm like, what if I get really sucked in and I can't refocus on other things? I'm trying to think of the last series. I did just reread Full Metal Alchemist at the end of the school year last year. It held up. It's still great. Probably still one of my all-time favorite manga series. It is crazy though how like it feels so relevant because it's all about like outside of the it feel like as an American, it just feels so relevant. You're like, oh, all of these bad actors have been like plotting for years to take over the country and sacrifice everybody in it to their evil alchemy whatever to achieve immortality for these like horrible awful evil men, and then also there's a genocide of brown people happening all because of their religion. Wow, what a concept. If only that were I'm sitting there going, oh my god, what why is this so accurate? Oh my gosh, I feel like yeah, Sakura is also a doctor, and it's weird though because they're also like I think I only read a little bit of like Boruto. I just remember the one shot that Masashi Kishimoto actually did, where like she like punches down her house or something. Uh, so it feels like she's always like screwing up as a mom, but she's like a hospital worker, which is like yeah, she's like a surgeon because she's like smart, but it also feels like then it's like shading her, like oh well, she's not a very good mother. I just realized I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting this wrong part in. But it does feel like it's shading her by being like, yeah, she's a bad mom. And you're like, all right, yeah, okay. Her husband had a kid and then ran off. So let's I mean, probably because he's, I don't know, like in love with Naruto or something though. So whatever. Oh, this is in fact 4 though. Hajun. 8 for Hajun. There we go. I do think it's like I do think it is the world of Paradox Live does kind of offer a lot of opportunity to do a lot with. I think it's kind of an interesting. I wish they were a little bit more. I don't know. I do wish that they would color a couple things a little bit better. Like, as in, I wish they would give a little bit more detail about some things. Because I do feel like there are a few things that I'm like, okay, I'm still not super clear on what's going on with XYZ. But yeah, I do think it does make it pretty easy to kind of just like, because it's just kind of relatively near future, to just put things in and say like, oh yeah, I think this is happening. Let's see here. Yohei was one of the... For a while, Yohei and Iori were leading the polls for attractive, and at some point they just got, Yohei got completely overrun. Oh, there we go. 10 for Yohei. I mean, I don't know. Like whoever's doing the writing for this, I would say is probably more like thanks to the writers or the like person who came up with the concept. I guess. Uh, I don't really know, but shout out that person or those people. Let's see, Shiki attractive 5. I will say, there were a couple people I was a little bit concerned about. Again, not making assumptions about people, but there were a couple people I think who said that some young characters were attractive, and I don't think they were teenagers, which was a little... I don't know. I'm trying not to judge. Maybe a little bit. Let's see here. Kanata... I just did this wrong, didn't I? Oh my god. Kanata's 12. People... Yeah. Nayuta? Wow. That's interesting. They're twins, and they got very different... Alright. People liked found the Kanata vibe more attractive, but they did find Nayuta more likable. Yeah, Rebel, that was my same reaction. I will say there was one person who said Dongha, and mid-20s on that one. So again, I'm not saying anything specific about anyone, but that was a little scary. I was like, oh, somebody in the 14 and under must have chosen, or maybe 15 or 17. Does someone like Dongha? Was an adult. Did I do that right? I think so. There we go. Man, look at all these people who are incorrect because they didn't choose Zen as the most attractive. Sad for them. If they let Zen have body hair, he would gain a larger male following. Shisei was pretty popular. The other thing, part of Zen though is I think that it's probably more to do. Well, part of it might be to do with the fact that oftentimes, like bodybuilders will shave and like wax their body hair because they want to make sure that their muscle definition isn't hidden by the hair. So I'd imagine it's something like that. But I want to say that when I made that edit where I added body hair to the characters from the Summer Mirage photos, quote unquote, photos from our illustrations, the Zens did numbers on the gay side of Twitter for a little bit there, so just wanted to say that. So I'm just saying, if they gave him body hair, he'd be pretty popular. You would be, I know of then at least 2 Germans who really like Alan. So there you go. Let's see. Alan is 5. I think Alan is also kind of relatable as like people who are like, shall we say, neurodivergent. If you're kind of maybe on the spectrum and you relate to having like crazy passionate interests about things, I feel that though. I'm like, yeah, I too love to rant about, like, if somebody shows interest in a thing that I love, I will grab you and talk to you. Clearly, as I am showing you right now, I will take the opportunity to talk your ear off about the thing that I'm interested in and make a lot of work for myself for no reason. Also, I'm pretty hyped for when Jackal finishes translating the Inmate chapter. I'm sure it's heartbreaking. They've been good. Like I mean, I feel like their other ones were good, so I'm not surprised they're good. But it is, again, it's very nice to get some like more context and background for these newer groups. I think, like, yeah, Alan definitely strikes me as a guy who, like, there's even that one comic where he is giving like all the little cards to Anne and Hajun and stuff. I feel like he's a sweet guy. Like he's kind of a dork, but I think he's a lovable dude. Exactly. Dude, I bet Alan would make such like he'd be such a good like a YouTuber or something if he got on and talked about like how to produce music or something. I bet he could make some insane video tutorials, like really good ones, where he's just like, all right, so this is what I do. Here are the settings that I use. This is the kind of place where I get like my samples from. This is what I do. Like, I bet he'd be a lot of fun in that kind of online space. It was Valentine's chocolate, and I want to say a New Year's card as well. And was it Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's? Because I feel like there were 3 different instances. Because it was a Yonkoma comic, like the 4-panel comic. I want to say, but I don't know. It's cute. Sorry, I am. Oh my gosh, I don't know the last time I've talked this much out loud over this long of a period of time. So I guess I'm preparing for school in a way. Are you a big cat fan, or just kind of just have a chill vibe with everybody? Actually, you know what, guys? You know what was craziest? This is probably not that crazy. I think there were like 5 straight guys who responded to the survey, which I was actually shocked. I'm not gonna lie. So shout out to like the 5 straight guys who filled out this survey. Thank you. We see you. Oh, it's a shame about the cat allergy. I am also allergic to cats. Like I think they're really cute and endearing. Now that I've encountered some of them, I guess. But when I was growing up, my dad was super allergic, so we couldn't have like we couldn't have cats. And if I went to like a friend's house that had cats, I had to like go home and change my clothes and like wash up right away because otherwise he'd have a reaction. But now as like an adult, I have like friends who have cats and stuff. I think cats are like sweet. And it's kind of nice. Like it's kind of fun how they're sort of like I don't know, they're just there and they'll show up if they feel like it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think they're cool. But yeah, I could see like I feel like to me personally, I feel like Hokusai has kind of maybe like a spectrum kind of personality as well. Like he reminds me a lot of one of my friends that I have in real life who is on the spectrum where he is also kind of very like he's kind of mannered and he kind of talks quietly and has just kind of that vibe to him. So he kind of reminds me a lot of that. Did I wait, Hachu 0. Am I? Oh, I'm looking in the wrong keg. That would do it. I was gonna say that's not. That makes no sense. There we go. I bet, yeah, Alan having like a. I feel like Alan would have one of those YouTube channels that just puts out like beats for people to use. I bet he'd be good with that. Or like maybe he does like freestyling videos. Like I want to see like the Toma Beauty like skincare channel. Dude, Hokusai is like insanely tall. Not as insanely tall as Ryoga, but like he's like pretty insanely tall. I just, oh my god, if I could type this right. Okay. Oh, that reminded me also. I don't know what it was. I was just thinking, yeah, the other German fan that I know of is the person who, like, somebody on Etsy has, like, Paradox Live stickers, and I ordered some, and then I never got them. And then I realized it's because it was, like, during the time when the German Postal Service wasn't delivering to America because like all the countries that were going on strike and not delivering to America, so I never got my stickers. But I didn't want to like contact her or them because I was like kind of awkward about it. But yeah, that's the other German Paradox Live person I can think of. I feel like there are more than you would think. It's not like insane, but there are more than you would expect. Yeah, I feel like Bay would be kind of like they would have kind of like an untouchable aura. Like they feel like you would see them in real life and be like, oh my god, these people are celebrities. Like they're too put together or something. I don't know. Then again, I guess maybe Alan would be kind of not as put together as like Hajun and Anne. Oh, that's cool too. Yeah, I do like the idea of like multiple people making tracks, I guess, in a group, because I feel like some groups, are more collaborative, I guess, with that. Oh, did I do that right? Or they're 20, no, they're 28. I think that's a good idea, is my point here. I put that in the wrong place because I forgot Ryu. I combine them together now. I'm gonna lose my mind. Dude. Hajun is definitely, I would say, not one of my favorite characters, but that's me. I'm not like, I don't know. I am not a super huge fan of like the mean twink characters. I don't know. I say with love in my heart. I don't know. He's definitely not my kind of not my kind of character I gravitate towards. He reminds me too much of like I don't know. He reminds me of like a character from like a Korean BL where like one of the characters, he's probably the top, is like a sadistic like chaebol, like rich guy who's like social elite. Like I'm like, oh. Not my favorite trope. Same razzle dazzle. He does low key PMO. I do think it's really funny where like Iori is very like, he'll be pretty highly ranked in attractiveness and sometimes in likable, but he is of course a character that nobody can relate to. Everyone's like, no, I've never been adopted and raised by a mafia boss. I can't say I relate. Probably for the best, honestly. I wish that they would post like I don't know. I do wish that there was a little bit more like regular posting. I think like of that time that Satsuki was like live tweeting as he got like, I don't know, like didn't he like fall asleep on the train and he got off at the wrong stop and then he was like wandering and he ended up like buying himself some like ramen or something. I whatever that was, I thought that was a lot of fun. Whenever there's just some random event that happens, I think it's just, I don't know, it feels very, it makes the world a little bit more lived in. I don't know why I just looked at that and wrote 2 and not 3. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, like, Hajun is like I said, he's definitely the trope of a character that I personally don't like, but I can see why like people enjoy his, like he is very he's got some like good moments. I really like that moment where he and Iori are kind of like sniping at each other in during the exhibition show drama, and they're kind of like trying to feel each other out and get a sense of what the other one knows. Like I think that's a really good moment. Like Hajun's definitely he's a character. I want to know, because like it gets mentioned where like Akane Yasura goes out to karaoke and stuff. Like I want to know what's their play, their set list. What are we singing along with? Right. I want the groups to drop their like karaoke night song lists. I want Zen. What's your workout playlist? Shiki, what's your lo-fi study music playlist? Man, a lot of Kantaros. Apparently, there are a lot of 18 to 20-year-olds who are really into social media. I mean, I think that also one of the strengths of a series like Paradox Live with a pretty large cast of characters is that I think there are characters kind of like there's like a character for everyone, you know, like somebody probably gonna like somebody eventually, right? So I think that is kind of a cool thing about the diversity of characters. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, Rebel Girl, why are you reminding me? Why am I being reminded? Also, shout out to whoever it was that said that Inmate was their least favorite because Kei Miyama was sent by the FBI. I genuinely had like a nice good chuckle about that one. It was pretty funny. All right. Yeah, look, I I don't know. We can only hope for the best with this the movie that they're putting out, right? They can't I really want to know what they're talking like I wonder if they'll do like a separate thing because genuinely so many of the dramas that we've had so far have been like insular, if you will, like it'll be just like the group with itself. There have not been at nearly as many crossover moments amongst these characters, which is part of the problem. I think that sometimes these like newer groups feel very like I don't know. They feel like there's a lot of potential. Again, they just kind of leave on the table. They're not actually doing anything with it. I don't know why I just type out Kenta. There we go. A lot of 18 to 20-year-olds who feeling like Kenta. All right, cool. K is in the API, like genuinely. K is I don't know, a Fed. Hajun, I think, yeah, he's definitely like chilled a bit since the beginning of the series. It's kind of like I think like Kanata has also sort of chilled a little bit since the beginning of the series. I do want to see like I would like to see also in the fourth season. I would like the twins to stop like be a little bit less um codependent. I'd like to see them branching out and like Nayuta's already kind of doing that, but I would like to see Kanata start to do it more as well. I think yeah, I definitely agree, Alicia, that I think that the Paradox Live anime it was fun. Like I'm not gonna say it was like all bad per se. I definitely have some criticisms of the way that certain things were handled, but I think like overall it was nice. It was fun to see the characters interacting and like you know in motion and animated and stuff. I really appreciated watching like how Zen is always like at Iori's side and stuff. That was very nice. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Also, I am a Paradevi enjoyer. I thought it was really fun. I wish we would have a goofy little A goofy little mascot again. Hashtag bring back bring back Paradevi. I feel like though I will say I do think I know that a lot of people want solo songs, but I also feel like some people would like some characters would not be as served as well with a solo song. You know, like I think a solo Hokusai song would be a little bit tricky, right? I think that um like where I think like Satsuki can rap and sing, I think he can carry it, right? I think that Iori would be fine, right? I characters again where you have like a Zen or a Hokusai or oh my gosh, I'm suddenly blanking on everybody's names. Oh my god. What's wrong? Sorry, my Tamagotchi is losing it. I just think there are some characters though where they're more suited to like as the accent to their group, like they work better in the full group together. Um but that is my personal opinion. I do think obviously the voice actors are all talented enough they could do it. It'd be fine. It just, with the certain character voices and stuff, I don't know how it would be. All right, what's wrong with him? He's fine. He's just pouting. Oh no, I praised him instead of scolding him. Ugh, I'm an idiot. Okay. My Tamagotchi is gonna grow up spoiled now. Alright. Simon, Yohei. I typed in the wrong person, didn't I? I did. I'm an idiot. This is what I get for trying to do two things at once. What? Alright. 8 for Simon. Yohei had 12. Yeah. I have to click though to make sure because there's always a chance that somebody chose exactly the same characters. That's happened at least 3 times at this point. Now I can do Kanata. I did not clear the thing. Oh my god. I am not cut out for a corporate job. This kind of high key sucks. And it's not even numbers yet, really. It's just information. And then Nayuta. 17 and 19. I'm typing on the wrong screen. Maybe I need 2 screens for my setup. Maybe that would help. There you go. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing, though. I think, like, the voice actors individually could do it. I don't know. It'd definitely be interesting, I think. I will say, I think it is really exciting when the fandom actively does things because it does allow like a fresh cycle of fans to engage with it. It is really exciting. Like the first time you start voting and stuff is really fun, or like when there's like a dope show or there's a stage like the stage show that comes out or something. It is like a really it's fun when you're part of like something that's active like that because you get to see. I forgot Shiki and oh my god, I'm gonna lose it, guys. It's fun when you get to watch it happen in real time. Is what I'm trying to say. Oh my god. Okay, I can't just keep doing this off the top of my head. I have to peek. There you go. Okay, we gotta do Ryu. How many people like Ryu? That was okay. All right. 27 people like Ryu. Who doesn't? Ryu's just a little guy. And then Shiki is 28. 28. A lot of people like Ryu and Shiki. I do also think that because of the way that Paradox Live is, it's nice because you can get kind of like into it as much as you want, or kind of be as surface level as you want. Like you could just listen to music and it's pretty enjoyable as it is, or you can know a couple things about the characters or something and it's fine. Or you can get like really into it and start reading like the backlogs of all the tweets and stuff, and it's also fun. I think that that's kind of the cool part about a series like this, is that it's really kind of whatever level of involvement you want to be into it, which kind of lets you do whatever you want with it. That's fun. All right, guys. I think I'm going to finish up the 18 to 20 character thing here, and then I'm probably going to call it, just because I have to make dinner at some point. Because alas, I don't have Gazan living with me, so I have to make my own food with vegetables and protein. Let's see, like ability. Who is next? I literally just moved it. Rayo. 16. I mean, I think that I definitely would say that the best way to engage with fandom, quote unquote, I think, is usually just like find a couple people you vibe with, follow them, interact with them. If there are other people that like, or like find artists and stuff who do stuff you like, follow them. And then if there are people that are just like, maybe they don't jive with you, if you don't kind of like vibe with them or whatever, just don't interact, block them, mute them. Like I think that sometimes you're gonna find people who are just unfortunately gonna be toxic because of this or that. Some people are just kind of like that, and they maybe they don't realize it, but they're being toxic or they're being really dismissive or something. And so like I think that the nice thing about social media is that you can also kind of just mute people if you don't want to see their stuff. You can keep your circle as small or make it as large as you want. And you can kind of engage with it as you want. So, I'd encourage you to do that. Or, if you find like a group of friends that you like to hang out with, make a Discord server, server, and just hang out with them, right? I think that's, in my opinion, that's kind of the most fun way to do that stuff, is you just find like the other, I don't know, 12 people you vibe with and just put them in a server and just be like, all right, it'll be the server where we get together and talk about this and share stuff about this. And then, I don't have to worry about, oh, this person said this thing about this character and now I feel like I have to write an essay about it. Yeah, like I said, it's definitely one of those, like, you can engage with stuff or not engage with it, and if you don't want to see it, you can just kind of block the artist or the people who put it around, It's just, in the classic proverb from fanfiction.net in, like, 2008, don't like, don't read. 19 of, okay. Hajunyon, no, that's Donga. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel so desensitized. Like, I personally am not a person who's into those kinds of ships, but I also grew up at the time when, like, you had the twins from Harry Potter, you had the twins from Oran High School Host Club, you had Sam and Dean Winchester from Supernatural. Those were, like, the big ships of the day. And, of course, I'm always like, bro, I got siblings. I can't think of a less appealing person, but live your life, I guess. Like one of my really good friends from Germany was really into shipping Germany and Prussia, you know, and I was like, you know what? You live your life. She also was an only child, which led me to believe. I feel like if you ship those things, maybe you're an only child. I don't know. I just assume that now because maybe that's why you're like, oh yeah, that could be fun. Like, well, I mean, I was just talking about that thing, but you know, yeah, if you want to talk about ships, razzle dazzle, go for it. I'm not gonna turn down a ship discussion. I was very pleased, personally, that there were so many people, especially like I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm assuming that they were all older. I can't know that for sure. There were a lot of people though who were talking about like the TCW adults and the Akanyatsura adults, and I genuinely I'm like, you know what? If they have like kind of a swinging situation, like an open situation with the four of them, that's good in my that they're all attractive adults. That's great. I love that for them. Good for them. Dude, Ann and Satsuki is such a good one, and they have such a good song together. I want By King Satsuki so bad, guys. I need Satsuki to go on a date with Anne. I need Anne to give Satsuki a chance. That's why Satsuki's got to age up. He's got to be allowed to become 20 so he can so he can go and what is it? I don't know. What do you call that? Like to call on Anne as a hostess, as they encouraged him to do. Yeah, I think that Anne, like I just think it's such a I don't know, it's such a fun one. And I think that again, I think that they go really well together cuz like Anne's whole like gender theme, and then Satsuki is a character, he's got like this very girly name. Um and his MC name is the name of a goddess. I think that like, you know, I think there are things here in his character that are really would be really well suited to go with Anne. I just think they're great. I would love to see that. Like I know there are a lot of poly bay people, and that's also I can also see that. I guess like I feel like in a lot of ships, if I don't feel like super strongly about it, I'm like I could see it. Like I feel like the Goku luck, all the adults in Goku luck, like all of the adults in Goku luck with each other or other people, I've like seen it. I feel like, and I'm like, yeah, I could see that working. Like, sure, they all go well together. Poly adults in Goku, I guess. Goku Poly minus Kenta. I do think like I could see an element of like Razzle Dazzle. I could definitely see like an element of Satsuki kind of being like a very like chivalry kind of, you know, well I'm gonna look out for you because that's what, you know, guys do for girls or whatever, and then Anne being kind of like, okay, well that's not really whatever, but also being sort of charmed by it in a way because like, you know, maybe no one's ever really thought to be like that with Anne before or something. I think there's a lot of really cute potential with a Satsuki and Anne combo. All right, let's see if I can lock in and get this done. I mean, Hokusai is 24. He is older than Shion. And I do think again, like I feel like maybe some of the reason that people feel like he's kind of younger is again like the way that he acts. Like and when I was like talking earlier about how he reminds me a lot of like a friend that I have that's on the spectrum, I can see that also being kind of a situation where you know, people who are a certain kind of like way can sometimes seem quote unquote younger, but also like, you know, he is an adult. I think that he also, I feel like on some level I have always kind of headcanoned Hokusai as being asexual, but I also do like the idea of like Hokusai being shipped with other people, so I don't really have a strong stance on it, you know? Like, I could see it both ways. I think it depends on kind of how you depict it or how you play it, but I could definitely see there's a lot of potential in either direction. Which is kind of the fun thing, though, right? Because I think sometimes, too, like, somebody will just have a concept that you've never really thought about before, like a dynamic that you never saw before, and then somebody writes something or draws something, and you go, "Oh my god, that's actually awesome! Like this is fire!" Like next thing you know, you're like, "I'm sold! Like this is awesome!" It's like I was doing like kind of a role play with a friend, and we were kind of talking about we because we were like role playing as different characters. Like I was role playing as Zen, and they were role playing as Yohei, and so we kind of ended up just because we wanted to do like stuff together. We were just talking like having this kind of conversation. It ended up getting me to really think about like I bet Yohei and Zen could have like a really nice friendship. I feel like there are elements of their characters that would go really well together. Um, you know, and sometimes that's all it takes. And then Iori's stuck there being like, "Oh no, my boyfriend is hanging out with my ex." And that's fine, Elysia. It's really again, it's up to you and like and as an individual to see a ship or a dynamic and go, "I feel like this," you know. Yes, I yeah. This is my boyfriend. My boyfriend's boy. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Where is my? Let's see. Likable, relatable, attractive. I am up to Yohei. Okay. Clear shoe. Shiki is 2. Alright. Ryu is 5. And Kanata. There you go. 15 for Kanata. Exactly. I also just think like as the respective mothers of their teams, I like to imagine they get together and like exchange recipes. You know, they're like, "Oh, I made this for dinner last night and it went over very well." I feel like Zen would be like venting about how you know Iori is not I don't know trusting him enough, and then Yohei would be like, "Oh, I'll go talk to him." Or something. Wow. Good to know 11 people have great taste. Zen. Attractive. There you go. Objectively. Hokusai. 22. Wow. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Zen, Hokusai, and Satsuki. There you go. Man, only 6. Poor Satsuki. No love whatsoever. Well, we got 2 for Rayo. Chisei. Man, a lot of Chisei. That makes sense. Haruomi. 15, 16. All right. I do think it's interesting when like a lot of people say voice for attractiveness. I should make like a chart of how many people said that too. I guess that would be like an extra thing I would do at some other point. But anyway, that was Haruomi. We're to the final thing here. We got Shogo. 10 people for Shogo. Here we go. We've got Toma. $15. I do love Shogo and Toma as well. I don't really have a strong feeling on who is, you know, if it's Shogo Toma or Toma Shogo, but I think they're cute together. Especially since, like, I don't know, Toma was so like, oh my god, this guy is such an idol. Like, oh, he's so idol-y and he has such a strong aura. I think that's great. Also, just I don't know, I think they just have a really cute dynamic together. They're always like Toma is very supportive. I feel like Toma is the Zengaho of Visti. Kantaro. I love a failing idol unit. Okay, I just think like an idol unit that's kind of a flop. I love that. I talk about it also in the video I'm working on. Like I love Zombieland Saga. And that's also just basically a flop idol unit trying their best. I think that's super endearing. Don't oof. Dong. What do we got? Oh, okay. Well, we got 3 there. Both of them. They used to be Poly Visti, and now they're just Visti and K is left. I could see though, like I feel like I could see like a Shogo having like one-sided or maybe like unrequited feelings for K. Meanwhile, Toma is having unrequited feelings for Shogo. I feel like that would be a fun dynamic, you know? I could see that happening. K, we're at K. Select, there we go, 8. I think that also, I always say, I feel like maybe Visti is sort of also recognizing the influence, or like Visti's inclusion to me is maybe like also recognizing the influence of hip-hop in the idol genre, where like a lot of like K-pop and J-pop and stuff, like they rap now as well, you know, and it's not like they got that out of just nowhere, right? So I feel like maybe that's the element, like they realize that the people like rap, you know? But that's just my theory. Rokuta, 3 people. I will say, Rokuta was probably one of the characters that people really found the least attractive, but I also feel like it's because of Rokuta's, like, childish energy, where you're kind of like, I don't really find, like, he's endearing. I think he's, like, adorable and cute, but not, like, in a, like, oh, you know, I assume that's why people feel that way about him. Because he is kind of maybe a character I don't know that I don't want to say sexualized, because like finding them attractive or appealing in that respect isn't like inherently sexual, I suppose, but like I could see why people might go like, I don't really know if I would view him as like in that kind of light because of the way he is. It makes sense to me. Let's see. Okay, we're in the final stretch, guys. We're almost done with this particular chunk of data. Okay. Ryoga, Shion, 28. Oh my god. Shion is killing people out here. Second only to Anne. And then Kenta, 4. 4 for real, 4 for real. Okay. Cool. Alright. So, so far we've got the first 4. In terms of these, we've got the Kanata and Hokusai were. Oh, sorry. Kanata, Hokusai, Shion, and Kenta were all seen as attractive by the 14 and under crowd. For the 15 to 17 crowd, it was Anne. Anne was the top number one attractive person, also most likable. And also, oh no, Shiki was the most relatable, followed closely by Anne. For the 18 to 20-year-olds, their most relatable character was Anne, followed by Shiki. Then, Shiki and Kantaro, followed by Alan. Their most liked character was Anne, followed by Shiki, and then Ryu, and Kenta, who tied. And then finally, the most attractive group characters by group. This was going to be Anne again, followed by Shion, and a tie between Iori and Yohei. So there we go. That's going to be it for today, the stream. Thanks for everyone who stuck around. It has, in fact, been a couple hours. This has been a long one. But thank you guys for your attention to this. I hope you guys will watch the video that I'm going to put out soon. I'm hoping that it'll be out by, like, Monday at the latest. I'm really hoping to kind of lock in tomorrow and finish it all. But we'll see. There's, like, it's taking forever. I've been, like, editing it in little chunks here and there. And I think I'm not even halfway through yet. I might have just gotten halfway through. So, anyway, guys, thanks so much. Take care, heads. I'll talk to you.